Education has long been a cultural tool for civilizations. As far back as 3000 BC in Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China, the education of the youth was an important part of society. Boys from prosperous families were the ones who attended schools. Only the very wealthy could send their daughters. These students used clay tablets with scribe tools and learned the language, math, and history of their era. Around 500 BC, the abacus, a device used to perform mathematical computations, was invented by the Chinese. The abacus as we know it today was being used in China in the 1300s. Still in use today in Asia, it is suggested to be the first computer. Slates were believed to have replaced the clay tablets in India in the 11th century and were the primary instrument used by students in early America. Ink and paper was just too expensive for the typical student. James Pillins of Scotland was credited with installing the first wall-mounted blackboard when he hung a large piece of slate in 1801. In 1795, Frenchman Nicolas Jacques Conté was credited with developing the pencil as we know it today. While Aztecs had used graphite as a marker for hundreds of years, Conté created a pencil when he sandwiched some graphite between two pieces of wood. By the middle of the 19th century, the scope of the classroom had begun to change. With the coming of the Industrial Revolution, new ways to instruct were sure to find their way into the classroom. While lanterns had been around for a while, the advent of limelight and carbon art light gave a much brighter light suitable for projecting images for classroom instruction. The next innovation in technology was the typewriter. American Christopher Latham Sholes is credited with developing the typewriter. Originally created to make his business more efficient, the typewriter found its way into the classroom. This early image shows a typing class in 1906 in New York City. With the advent of motion pictures, it wasn't long before movies could be shown in the classroom. Students were able to see and hear about things they'd only read about before. Many educational documentaries were produced by the government specifically for instruction in the classroom. Up until the 1960s, blackboards were the focal point of instruction in the classroom since 1800. Then the development of the overhead projector. Roger Alperdorn, an engineer at 3M, is credited with the development of the modern-day overhead projector. Using clear sheets to write or draw, you can still find them in use in classrooms today. As technology expanded with the space program sending man to the moon, Texas Instruments introduced the first handheld calculator in 1967. This device could perform basic math functions. In 1932, Charles Babbage, an English mathematician, created a difference engine, considered to be the first mechanical device that could perform any type of mathematical calculation. Because of the critical tolerances required to operate his machine, the technology needed to mass produce this machine was not available at this time. Babbage's son Henry carried on his father's work and laid the foundation for today's computers. The first electronic digital computer was created by the Army to compute firing tables. While work began in 1939, a patent wasn't issued until 1947. Called ENIAC, Electronic, Numerical, Integrator, and Computer, it was a prototype from which other computers would evolve. Today, computers are arguably the most important tool a teacher or student can access for instruction. From research to typing reports, the computer has created an environment for all students to learn at his or her optimum level. Schools are enabling students to make use of their personal devices also. Providing access to the school's internet, students are able to interact and collaborate with their fellow students on instruction and assignments. Virtual schools now provide students entry to curriculums they have been unable to access before. With an internet connection and a computer, distance learning is not so distant anymore. From students using clay tablets to today's personal devices, what technology innovations does the future hold for education? Will holograms replace the instructor? Will we even have brick and mortar schools? Only time will tell.